You're not trapped. You're not cursed. You're not out of options. You're just soft, mentally, emotionally, and in the habits you repeat every day. And until you admit that, you'll keep calling comfort normal and fear reality. This audiobook isn't here to coddle you, it's here to confront you. If you're tired of playing small, avoiding responsibility, and waiting for life to change, then it's time to toughen up and transform. Because the truth is, you're not stuck. You're just not doing what it takes yet. Let's fix that. Chapter 1. The Lie of I'm Stuck. You are not stuck. You've just been telling yourself a story that keeps you still. The truth is, saying I'm stuck is easier than admitting I'm scared, I'm unsure, or I've been avoiding what I need to do. But stuck isn't real. It's a mindset, not a fact. Most people say they're stuck, but what they really mean is they're afraid to move, afraid to fail, afraid to be seen starting over. So they freeze. They wait for clarity, for confidence, for permission. But all of those things come after action, not before. I'm stuck becomes a habit. It becomes the excuse we use when we don't want to take responsibility. But nothing will change until you challenge that belief. You're not trapped. You're not waiting. You're choosing, whether you realize it or not. Movement doesn't require perfection. You don't need to know the full plan. You just need to take the next step. Growth happens through motion, not through overthinking. The more you move, the clearer your direction becomes. Sometimes the door isn't locked. You're just afraid to push it. You tell yourself it's too late, too risky, too uncertain. But deep down, you know the truth. The only thing keeping you from rising is the belief that you can't. You're not stuck. You're soft. And that's not an insult. It's an invitation to toughen your mind, to sharpen your discipline, to outgrow the version of you that would rather stay safe than step into the unknown. Change your story and your life will follow. Stop saying, I'm stuck. Start saying, I'm learning. I'm adjusting. I'm taking ownership. The language you use shapes your identity, and identity shapes your actions. The only way out is through fear, through resistance, through the lies you've believed about what you can't do. The path is waiting for you. It always has been. But no one can walk it for you. It starts with one decision: move. You are not cemented in place. You are not held back by fate. You are held back by hesitation, by delay, by doubt. But doubt dies in the face of action. And the more action you take, the more powerful you become. The truth is simple. You're not stuck. You're soft, and you've stayed soft for too long. But now, it's time to harden your resolve, to take responsibility, to drop the lie and pick up your power. The next chapter of your life begins the moment you stop believing you're trapped. Chapter 2. Weak habits build weak lives. Weak habits are the quiet destroyers of strong potential. They don't ruin your life in a day. They do it slowly, silently, and subtly. Hitting snooze instead of getting up, scrolling instead of building, complaining instead of changing. These little habits shape the quality of your life more than you think. The truth is, you don't need a massive problem to fall behind in life. You just need weak routines repeated every day. A few lazy choices, a few ignored responsibilities, and over time, you become someone you don't even recognize. That's not being stuck. That's being soft. Your habits are either building you or breaking you. There is no in-between. Every action you repeat is a vote for the kind of person you become. When your habits are weak, your mindset follows. You begin to expect less from yourself, and you settle for less in life. People don't fall short because they lack talent. They fall short because they refuse to strengthen their habits. You want to be confident? Build habits of discipline. You want to be successful? Build habits of consistency. Your habits must match your ambition. Weak habits come from comfort, and comfort is addictive. It convinces you that rest is more important than progress, that distraction is more fun than discipline. But comfort doesn't care about your future. It only cares about your feelings now. And that's why it keeps you soft. Every time you delay the hard work, you trade your future for ease. You give away strength for softness, and that's not a trade you can afford to make anymore. If you want power, you have to earn it. In the small choices, every single day. It's not about being extreme. It's about being consistent. Show up on the days you don't feel like it. Do the boring work that no one claps for. Hold yourself to a higher standard, not because anyone's watching, but because you owe it to yourself to be solid. Excellence isn't a gift. It's a habit. It's built in the reps, in the routine, in the repeated decision to do what's right instead of what's easy. Weak habits keep you surviving. Strong habits make you unstoppable. Look at your day. Look at your habits. Are they pushing you forward or holding you back? Are they strengthening your discipline or feeding your weakness? If you want a stronger life, start with stronger habits. It's that simple and that serious. Weak habits will keep you average. Strong habits will pull you out of average and into purpose. You don't need more time. You need better patterns. And it starts by getting honest about what you're really doing day in and day out. Chapter 3. Toughen your mind, toughen your life. Your life is a reflection of your mindset. If your thoughts are weak, your actions will be soft. But when your mind is tough, when you train it to push, to focus, to resist excuses, your life begins to transform. Everything changes when you build inner strength. A tough mind doesn't mean you don't feel fear. It means you face it and act anyway. It means you don't back down just because something is uncomfortable. You don't run from hard things. You lean into them. You grow through them. Mental toughness is built through repetition, not once, not twice, but daily practice, saying no to distractions, finishing what you start, showing up when you don't feel like it. These moments sharpen you. Over time, they make you unshakable. If you keep quitting when things get hard, your life will stay small. Every time you walk away from pressure, you teach your brain to fold under stress. But if you keep going, even when it's messy, you teach your mind that discomfort is where strength begins. A tough mind can handle rejection, failure, and pain, and still stay focused. While others fall apart, you stay calm. While others make excuses, you adapt. Life doesn't get easier, you get stronger, and that strength becomes your edge. To toughen your life, train your thoughts. Talk to yourself with focus. Cut the complaining. Drop the blame. Replace weakness with responsibility. Replace fear with action. Replace doubt with clarity. Your inner voice must become your greatest coach, not your greatest critic. Stop waiting to feel ready. Tough people act when it's hard, when it's uncertain, and when nothing feels perfect. That's what separates the committed from the comfortable. That's what builds winners, not talent, but grit. Your habits shape your mental toughness. Waking up early, sticking to your word, saying no to what doesn't align. These are not small things. They're training reps for your mind. Every strong action strengthens your future. You don't need to be born tough. You need to decide to get tough. That decision is made in silence, in early mornings, in lonely moments, in setbacks. It's made when no one sees, but its effects show everywhere in your life. Toughen your mind, and you'll stop breaking down when life tests you. You'll stop running from effort. You'll start running toward challenge, because you'll know the truth. Nothing great is built from softness. It's built from inner fire, forged in resistance. Chapter 4. Stop waiting for a perfect time. There is no perfect time. That idea is a trap that keeps you from starting. You wait for the right energy, the right mood, or the right situation. But life doesn't give you perfect conditions. It gives you chances. And it's your job to move, even when things aren't ideal. People waste years waiting for motivation. They delay action because they're scared, unsure, or uncomfortable. But nothing changes until you do. If you keep waiting, you'll keep wishing. Progress only begins the moment you decide to stop waiting and start building. The truth is, the perfect moment is now. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, right in the middle of your doubt, your fear, and your mess. Growth happens when you take action through the chaos, not when everything is calm. Your mind will always find an excuse if you let it. It will say, "You're not ready," "It's not the right time," or "You need to think more." But the strongest minds ignore those whispers. They act anyway. They build confidence through doing, not thinking. Most people fail before they even start, because they keep planning and never executing. They make outlines, they set goals, but they never take the first uncomfortable step. Start messy, start afraid, just start. Movement beats perfection every time. Success doesn't wait for comfort. The people who win are the ones who show up in discomfort. They don't care if they're tired or uncertain. They act because their goals matter more than their excuses. That mindset creates momentum. If you want to grow, you must act before you're ready. That's how strength is built. Waiting for clarity is often fear in disguise. You get clear by doing. You find your voice by speaking. You learn by showing up, not by standing still. Waiting robs you of time. Every day you hesitate is a day you could have made progress. One step today is more valuable than 100 perfect plans left untouched. Start with what you have. Do what you can. But don't stay still. You don't need a new week, a new year, or a new mood to change your life. You need courage. That's it. Courage to stop stalling and start building. The work isn't waiting for you. It's waiting on you. You won't always feel ready. But readiness is not a feeling. It's a decision. Decide that today is the day you act like your future matters. Decide that today your effort matters more than your fear. Start where you are. You don't need perfect tools, perfect timing, or perfect knowledge. You just need commitment. Consistency beats conditions. If you can keep going through the messy days, you'll grow faster than people who wait for sunny skies. Time is not the problem. Your belief is. You think the future version of you will be stronger, more focused, more ready. But the future you is built by the decisions you make now. Every delay weakens that future. Every action strengthens it. If you're serious about changing your life, start before you feel prepared. You'll figure it out as you go. Action creates answers. Confidence comes from movement. Strength comes from experience, not from overthinking. No one who ever achieved greatness had a perfect start. They started with fear, with flaws, and with doubts. But they moved anyway. You can too. Don't aim for perfect. Aim for progress. Don't wait for timing. Create it with action. Stop waiting. Start becoming. The version of you that you're chasing is not waiting for conditions. They're waiting for you to rise. The longer you wait, the longer you delay becoming who you were always meant to be. Chapter 5. Pain is part of progress. There is no perfect time. That idea is a trap that keeps you from starting. You wait for the right energy, the right mood, or the right situation, but life doesn't give you perfect conditions. It gives you chances. And it's your job to move, even when things aren't ideal. People waste years waiting for motivation. They delay action because they're scared, unsure, or uncomfortable. But nothing changes until you do. If you keep waiting, you'll keep wishing. Progress only begins the moment you decide to stop waiting and start building. The truth is, the perfect moment is now. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, right in the middle of your doubt, your fear, and your mess. Growth happens when you take action through the chaos, not when everything is calm. Your mind will always find an excuse if you let it. It will say, "You're not ready, it's not the right time," or "You need to think more." But the strongest minds ignore those whispers. They act anyway. They build confidence through doing, not thinking. Most people fail before they even start because they keep planning and never executing. They make outlines, they set goals, but they never take the first uncomfortable step. Start messy. Start afraid. Just start. Movement beats perfection every time. Success doesn't wait for comfort. The people who win are the ones who show up in discomfort. They don't care if they're tired or uncertain. They act because their goals matter more than their excuses. That mindset creates momentum. If you want to grow, you must act before you're ready. That's how strength is built. Waiting for clarity is often fear in disguise. You get clear by doing. You find your voice by speaking. You learn by showing up, not by standing still. Waiting robs you of time. Every day you hesitate is a day you could have made progress. One step today is more valuable than 100 perfect plans left untouched. Start with what you have. Do what you can. But don't stay still. You don't need a new week, a new year, or a new mood to change your life. You need courage. That's it. Courage to stop stalling and start building. The work isn't waiting for you. It's waiting on you. You won't always feel ready, but readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. Decide that today is the day you act like your future matters. Decide that today your effort matters more than your fear. Start where you are. You don't need perfect tools, perfect timing, or perfect knowledge. You just need commitment. Consistency beats conditions. If you can keep going through the messy days, you'll grow faster than people who wait for sunny skies. Time is not the problem. Your belief is. You think the future version of you will be stronger, more focused, more ready. But the future you is built by the decisions you make now. Every delay weakens that future. Every action strengthens it. If you're serious about changing your life, start before you feel prepared. You'll figure it out as you go. Action creates answers. Confidence comes from movement. Strength comes from experience, not from overthinking. No one who ever achieved greatness had a perfect start. They started with fear, with flaws, and with doubts. But they moved anyway. You can too. Don't aim for perfect. Aim for progress. Don't wait for timing. Create it with action. Stop waiting. Start becoming. The version of you that you're chasing is not waiting for conditions. They're waiting for you to rise. The longer you wait, the longer you delay becoming who you were always meant to be. Chapter 6. Comfort is killing your potential. Comfort feels good, but it's dangerous. It whispers that you're fine where you are. It convinces you that you've done enough. But if you stay there too long, you stop growing. Your dreams slowly die in the arms of comfort. The life you want doesn't exist inside your comfort zone. Growth demands discomfort. It demands early mornings, tough decisions, difficult conversations, and long nights of discipline. That's the cost, and most people aren't willing to pay it. When you choose comfort over progress, you're trading long-term success for short-term relief. You hit snooze instead of rising early. You scroll instead of studying. You relax when you know you should be working. Little by little, your edge disappears. Comfort tells you you've earned a break, even when you haven't done the work. It justifies skipping the gym, quitting the goal, and postponing your plans. The more you listen, the weaker your momentum becomes. Your potential isn't sleeping, it's suffocating. not because of failure, but because of comfort. You've got goals, but they're buried under hours of distractions. You have talent, but it's fading in a routine that's too easy. Nothing extraordinary is built in comfort. Champions train when they're tired. Leaders take action when it's scary. Builders show up when it's boring. The people who achieve more are the ones who can sit in discomfort and still move forward. Comfort creates entitlement. You start expecting results you haven't earned. You expect success without sacrifice. You wait for rewards without putting in the grind. And when those results don't show up, you blame everything but your comfort. You've got to get tired of easy. If your days feel smooth and effortless, ask yourself, am I really growing? If the answer is no, it's time to shake up your routine. Pressure builds diamonds, but only if you apply it. The best version of you doesn't live in comfort. That version lives on the other side of resistance, the place where you're sweating, struggling, focused and fired up. It's not glamorous, but it's powerful. That's where greatness begins. Comfort isn't just physical, it's mental. When you avoid challenges, uncomfortable feedback or hard truths, you shrink. Your mind gets softer, your standards drop. But when you face discomfort head-on, you get sharper, faster and tougher. To rise, you must leave where it's easy. There is no success without sacrifice. There is no breakthrough without breakdown. You will have to hurt, you will have to fail, but that's the price of becoming powerful. Your mind adapts to what you repeatedly do. If you constantly choose comfort, your brain learns to avoid challenge. But if you consistently choose hard, your brain gets stronger. Your willpower becomes a weapon. Every time you take the easy route, you reinforce the idea that you can't handle pressure. But every time you take the hard route, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more. That confidence compounds. Get uncomfortable on purpose. Wake up earlier. Train harder. Learn something new. Speak up when it's easier to stay quiet. Push your limits daily. It's not about pain, it's about progress. Comfort is silent. It won't yell. It creeps in, one soft choice at a time, one skipped workout, one lazy decision, one more excuse. And before you know it, your potential has been quietly buried under a soft, forgettable life. Don't let comfort trick you into thinking you're okay with average. You're not. You're just out of practice. Your fire isn't gone. It's just been smothered. Get uncomfortable again. That's how you light it back up. Success is found in the uncomfortable places. The lonely grind. The ignored efforts. The disciplined routines. Most people avoid those places. But you? That's where you need to live if you're serious about becoming great. Kill comfort before it kills your future. Replace it with structure. Replace it with intensity. Replace it with goals so clear that every lazy decision feels like an insult to who you're trying to become. You weren't built for average. You weren't meant for mediocrity. But if you keep choosing comfort, that's all you'll ever experience. Your calling demands more. Your future needs more. Get uncomfortable and go claim it. Discipline is the muscle that helps you move forward when your emotions tell you to quit. While emotions change with the weather, discipline remains solid. It gives you structure, even in chaos. When you master discipline, you stop being controlled by how you feel in the moment. Success isn't about always feeling ready or inspired. It's about showing up regardless. Discipline whispers, do it anyway. Even when you're tired. Even when it's boring. Even when no one is watching. That's how you separate average from unstoppable. When you lead with emotion, you start and stop constantly. You make promises in motivation, then break them in doubt. But when discipline leads, your actions don't depend on your mood. They depend on your mission, and that makes you powerful. Discipline doesn't ignore emotion, it just doesn't bow to it. Your feelings are valid, but they are not the leaders. Let them exist. Let them pass. But don't let them dictate your actions. That's how you stay in control. Many people live at the mercy of how they feel. If they're sad, they stop. If they're anxious, they avoid. If they're tired, they quit. But discipline trains you to rise above those waves, to move with purpose, not emotion. The more you follow through when it's hard, the stronger your identity becomes. You start to believe, I'm someone who gets things done. That belief builds quiet confidence. That confidence becomes your fuel on the hardest days. There will always be days when you don't feel like it. The difference is, disciplined people don't let those days win. They've trained themselves to take action anyway, because their goals aren't optional. They're non-negotiable. Discipline creates peace. You don't have to argue with yourself every day. You don't waste time in indecision. You know what needs to be done, and you do it. That level of clarity and consistency becomes a superpower. Emotion reacts to pressure. Discipline responds with plan. Emotion panics when things go wrong. Discipline adjusts and keeps moving. When your world feels shaky, discipline keeps your foundation solid and stable. Stop waiting to feel like it. Most of your breakthrough moments will happen on the days when you don't feel like showing up. When you push past resistance, you earn respect, not from others, but from yourself. Emotion says, what do I want right now? Discipline asks, what do I want most? That shift in question changes everything. It trades short-term pleasure for long-term greatness, and that's how real progress is made. Discipline simplifies decision-making. You don't need to debate every task. You've already decided who you want to become. Now your actions just follow that decision, one habit, one rep, one choice at a time. Training discipline isn't just about routines. It's about resilience. It's built when you choose what's right over what's easy, when you stay focused in a distracted world, when you protect your time like it matters, because it does. A disciplined life doesn't mean you never rest. It means you rest with intention. You know the difference between recharging and avoiding, between recovery and escape. Discipline helps you find that balance. Stop chasing motivation. Motivation fades. It's great when it shows up, but it's not reliable. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't care about hype. It cares about habits, and habits are what shape your life. If your mood decides your consistency, you'll stay stuck. But if your discipline drives your actions, you'll outgrow your emotions. You'll no longer be dragged by them. You'll move through them with strength and direction. Discipline builds momentum. Every time you follow through, the next time gets easier. You start trusting yourself. And when you trust yourself, there's nothing you can't build, because you know you'll show up, no matter what. Some people live in emotional cycles, on fire one day, falling apart the next. Discipline breaks that cycle. It makes you steady, grounded, and focused. You stop riding emotional waves, and you start steering your own ship. You don't have to feel strong to act strong. That's the magic of discipline. You can be scared, uncertain, or exhausted, and still choose progress. Every time you do, you remind yourself that your actions are more powerful than your emotions. In the end, your life won't be shaped by how you felt. It will be shaped by what you did. Your legacy is built by your discipline. And when your discipline is stronger than your emotions, you become unstoppable. Chapter 7. Discipline over emotion. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Emotion says, I'm tired. Discipline says, do it anyway. If you want to build a life that's strong, focused, and unstoppable, you have to stop making decisions based on mood. Your emotions change by the hour. Your goals don't. One bad mood can ruin a day if you let it. But when discipline is in charge, you act from purpose, not pressure. You take control instead of waiting to feel right. We live in a world that tells you to follow your feelings. But feelings are not facts. They lie. They distract. They delay. Discipline gives you clarity. It helps you act in alignment with your future, not your frustration. When you live by emotions, you chase comfort. When you live by discipline, you chase growth. Comfort feels good now. Growth feels good later. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you're meant to be. You will not always be motivated. That's why discipline matters. Motivation is loud, but short-lived. Discipline is quiet, but consistent. If you only act when you're inspired, your progress will be inconsistent. But if you act daily, your future will be powerful. Tough days are the test. Anyone can work hard when life is easy. But what about when it's messy? When you're overwhelmed? That's when discipline becomes your anchor. It doesn't ask if you're ready. It asks if you're committed. Discipline doesn't mean emotionless. It means leadership. It means allowing emotions to exist without letting them dictate your behavior. You can feel fear, sadness, anger, and still move forward. That's real strength. The mind wants ease. Discipline wants excellence. The mind will make excuses. Discipline demands results. You have to choose which one leads your life, your fleeting moods, or your unshakable mission. Start building discipline with small promises. Wake up on time. Finish what you start. Show up when it's inconvenient. Every time you follow through, you strengthen your self-respect, and that respect becomes your inner power. When you follow emotion, you'll quit when it's hard. But when you follow discipline, you'll keep going. Not because it's easy, but because your identity depends on it. You are no longer someone who gives up. You are someone who shows up. Discipline is how you take control back from procrastination. It says, I don't need to feel ready to begin. It breaks the cycle of delay and teaches your brain a new pattern. Action first, emotion second. Think about the person you want to become. That person doesn't live by excuses. They lead their mind. They own their schedule. They don't negotiate with laziness. That version of you is built through disciplined action, not wishful thinking. Discipline creates peace. Not because life is easy, but because you trust yourself. You know you'll do what needs to be done. You don't argue with yourself every morning. You move with purpose. That peace is priceless. Start treating your feelings like background noise, not instructions. Feel tired? Work anyway. Feel unsure? Start anyway. Feel fear? Move anyway. Emotion can ride along, but it doesn't get the steering wheel. Most people stay stuck because they wait for the right feeling. They never act. They wait for energy, clarity, confidence. But discipline flips the script. You act first, and those things catch up to you. Every time you choose discipline over emotion, you become mentally stronger. You prove to yourself that you are not fragile, that you don't need to be in the perfect mood, that you are capable of leading yourself through resistance. Your emotions are temporary. Your results are permanent. The workout you skipped because you felt tired, that's a result. The task you delayed because you weren't in the mood, that's a result. Discipline gives you better outcomes, even when emotions scream otherwise. Being soft with yourself in moments of resistance leads to long-term regret. But being tough, kind but firm, builds pride. Discipline says, you'll thank me later. And every time you obey that voice, your future becomes more powerful. Let today be the day you stop letting emotions win. Let discipline speak louder. Let action lead. Because the version of you who lives with peace, pride, and purpose is not created by feelings. It's created by daily, disciplined choices. Discipline is doing what's right, even when it doesn't feel good. Emotions come and go. They rise, fall, and shift with your surroundings. But discipline remains steady. It shows up in the cold, in the stress, in the silence, and keeps you moving forward. When you act based on emotion, your life becomes unstable. One bad mood, and you stop trying. One distraction, and you break your routine. But discipline is different. It says, I move because it's time, not because I feel like it. You don't have to feel ready to do the work. You just need to start. Discipline silences the excuses, shuts out the fear, and leads you through resistance. It's not loud, it's not dramatic. It's quiet power, consistent, focused, and firm. Emotion tells you to skip the hard thing. Discipline tells you that your future depends on it. And every time you follow discipline instead of impulse, you grow stronger. You begin to trust yourself on a deeper level. Mastering your emotions doesn't mean ignoring them. It means learning to pause, breathe, and act with intention instead of reaction. Discipline builds space between your feelings and your actions, and that space is where maturity grows. Some days, your emotions will tell you to quit, to sleep in, to give up. Discipline is the voice that says, not today. It's the quiet fight inside you that refuses to be controlled by mood swings or fear. Success doesn't come from emotional motivation, it comes from routine. If you only show up when you're hyped, you won't make it. But if you show up every day, with or without the emotion, you become unstoppable. Discipline is how you keep promises to yourself. And keeping promises builds confidence. Every time you say, I'll do it, and then do it, even when you don't want to, you remind yourself that you are reliable. A strong life is built on systems, not feelings. If your gym schedule, writing time, or study routine depends on how you feel, you'll never build momentum. But if it's non-negotiable, you'll grow, even on the hard days. You can't lead yourself with emotion and expect consistency. Your feelings are temporary, but your vision is long-term. Discipline honors your vision. It follows the plan even when the present moment feels heavy or uncertain. Let your discipline carry you when inspiration is gone. On the days you don't see progress, don't feel strong, or feel completely alone, discipline steps in and says, keep going anyway. That's how breakthroughs happen. Emotion tells you stories. Discipline writes a new one. It rewrites the identity of someone who used to give up and replaces it with someone who finishes, someone who stays, someone who gets it done. Build habits that ignore emotion. Wake up and execute. Prepare your meals. Do the work. Train your mind. These actions, done daily, shape a life of power. Over time, discipline makes hard things easier and excuses irrelevant. You're not weak for having emotions, but you must be wise enough not to follow all of them. Every time you override an unhelpful feeling with focused action, you win a battle most people don't even fight. You don't become disciplined overnight. It's a muscle, trained through repetition, through uncomfortable choices, through getting back on track after failure. Every act of discipline is a rep for your mind. Emotion-based living feels good in the moment, but leaves you weak in the long term. Discipline hurts now, but rewards you later. Choose the pain that builds, not the comfort that breaks you. Ask yourself, if I only did what I felt like doing, where would I be? The answer is often scary. That's why discipline matters. It leads you where emotion won't go, and gives you results emotion can't give. You can train your emotions by training your discipline. The more you act with consistency, the more your emotions begin to align with your purpose. Over time, feelings stop running the show. They follow instead of lead. Discipline creates freedom. Freedom from regret. Freedom from chaos. Freedom from starting over again and again. When you live by structure, you get peace. You earn it, not through comfort, but through commitment. And at the end of the day, you must choose. Will you be controlled by your emotions, or will you lead them? Your future depends on the answer. Discipline builds the life your emotions only dream about. Chapter 8. How to confront your excuses. Excuses are comfortable lies. They give us permission to stay small, to avoid effort, to blame something or someone else. But if you want to grow, you have to face those excuses head-on. No one becomes powerful by hiding behind reasons. The first step is to stop calling them reasons and start calling them what they are: excuses. A reason explains, an excuse avoids. The more honest you are with yourself, the easier it becomes to break the cycle that's been holding you back. Excuses love comfort. They whisper, "You're too tired, you're not ready, it's not the right time." But you must remember, every excuse you accept today becomes your reality tomorrow. If you let them lead, your potential will stay trapped. You don't need perfect conditions. You need the courage to start despite them. Waiting for everything to feel right is an excuse in disguise. Progress isn't made in perfect moments. It's made in messy, uncertain, and uncomfortable ones. People say, "I don't have time," but they scroll for hours. They say, "I'm not motivated," but wait for inspiration that never comes. Confronting your excuses means questioning everything you keep telling yourself that's keeping you from action. Write your excuses down. Look them in the face. Ask, is this really true? Or is this just fear wearing a mask? When you expose your excuses to the light, they lose their power. Hiding them only lets them grow. Excuses often come from fear of failure, of judgment, of the unknown. But growth demands risk. If you always play it safe, you'll never know how strong you actually are. Don't let fear become your excuse to stay average. Every time you let an excuse win, your self-respect weakens. You teach yourself that your word doesn't matter. But when you fight through resistance, even in small ways, you rebuild belief in yourself. That belief is where change begins. Stop telling yourself stories that protect your laziness. "I'm just not built for this. It's too late for me. Others have it easier." These are all excuses that keep you locked in place. Your story doesn't define you. Your action does. Excuses don't disappear. You outgrow them. The stronger you become mentally, the less believable they sound. What once held you back will begin to sound weak, because your discipline drowns out the voice of delay. Accountability kills excuses. When you track your time, your habits, and your effort, you can no longer pretend you're trying when you're not. Numbers don't lie, results don't lie, and your daily choices write the truth of your progress. Don't fight your excuses with more talking. Fight them with action. Every time you choose effort over avoidance, you weaken the grip that excuse had on you. Excuses fade when they're outworked. Many excuses are based on assumptions, not facts. "I'll probably fail. They won't support me. This won't work." But you haven't even tried yet. You're living in a future that hasn't happened. Move forward and let real feedback replace fear. It's easy to blame your environment, your past, or your lack of resources. But many people have started with less and done more. The difference wasn't in what they had. It was in what they refused to keep using as an excuse. The next time you catch yourself saying, "I can't," challenge it. Say, "Why not?" Ask what would happen if you tried anyway. You might not succeed immediately, but you will have taken a step that most people never do. You're not the only one with doubt. You're not the only one who feels tired or overwhelmed. But the people who succeed are the ones who act in spite of those feelings. They don't wait for the excuse to go away. They move anyway. Confronting excuses is about building honesty, brutal, loving honesty. Look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm the only one in the way. That's not weakness, that's power. Because the moment you accept full responsibility, you become unstoppable. Your goals don't care about your excuses. The world doesn't pause for your hesitation. You either make moves or make excuses. Every day you're making one of those two choices, and every day you're becoming the result of whichever you choose more often. One of the most powerful things you can say is, "I'm done making excuses." And then prove it. Not with noise, but with consistency. Let your daily actions speak louder than the lies you used to believe. That's how progress becomes permanent. Excuses will always knock. Let them. But don't open the door anymore. You've got goals to chase, a life to build, and potential to fulfill. Excuses had their time. Now it's your turn. Excuses are clever stories we tell ourselves to protect our comfort zone. They feel like logic, but they're just fear in disguise. When you confront your excuses, you expose them for what they are. Roadblocks that you built and that you can tear down. You say you don't have time, but you scroll for hours. You say you're too tired, but you didn't plan your rest. You say you're waiting for motivation, but the truth is, you're avoiding responsibility. Most excuses fall apart under honest reflection. Excuses are easy because they let you stay the same. Growth demands truth. And truth isn't always easy, it's raw, but it's also freeing. When you admit the role you've played in your own delays, you finally reclaim the power to move forward. If your life isn't where you want it to be, your excuses are part of the reason. They show up as blame, denial, and delay. But deep down, you know when you're lying to yourself. That discomfort you feel? That's your potential begging to be set free. When you confront your excuses, you remove the ceiling. You stop saying, "I can't," and start asking, "How can I?" That single shift opens new doors, new ideas, and new levels of personal growth. The way forward begins with ownership. You don't have a talent problem. You don't have a time problem. You have a priority problem. If something truly matters to you, your actions will show it. Excuses sound convincing, but results never lie. Excuses grow stronger the longer you let them slide. They become habits. They become beliefs. Eventually, you forget their excuses at all. That's why you must confront them early and often. Don't let temporary comfort become your permanent identity. Ask yourself, is this reason real, or is it just convenient? The moment you realize most of your limits are self-imposed is the moment your real life begins. Freedom isn't found in more time or better luck. It's found in brutal honesty. Your future depends on how brave you are in the face of your own BS. It's not easy to call yourself out. But if you don't, you stay soft. You stay stuck. And no one else can break that cycle for you. It starts and ends with you. There's a difference between a reason and an excuse. Reasons require solutions. Excuses avoid them. Stop giving your energy to stories that stall your progress. Use that energy to build something better. Look back at your last failure. Was it truly out of your control, or were excuses involved? Be honest. This isn't about shame. It's about clarity. When you confront the truth, you gain the ability to rewrite it. Confronting your excuses means being uncomfortably self-aware. It means asking hard questions and not flinching at the answers. But growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from real, raw reflection and from the decision to act differently. Your excuses are costing you more than you think. Time, energy, confidence. Every excuse delays your progress and erodes your self-belief. The sooner you call them out, the sooner you can start winning again. Think about where you'd be if you had stopped making excuses a year ago. That's the cost of staying soft. And that's the power of facing the truth now. Don't let another year slip by. Start holding yourself to the standard your future deserves. Every time you let an excuse win, you reinforce a weaker version of yourself. But every time you push past one, you grow stronger. You become more honest, more focused, more capable. Excuses weaken you. Action builds you. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to stop being dishonest. Stop pretending the timing isn't right. Stop pretending you're not ready. You'll never feel fully ready. But you are fully capable. And that's enough to begin. There's always a way forward. Excuses just keep you from seeing it. When you clear them out, the path appears. You find time, you find energy, you find options you never saw before, but only if you're brave enough to challenge the lie. Growth starts with the decision to stop lying to yourself. You don't need more time, you need more truth. You don't need motivation, you need movement. Confront the stories that hold you back, and you'll create space for the ones that push you forward. You can either protect your excuses or protect your potential, but never both. One will survive, and the other will shrink. Choose wisely, choose boldly, and remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being real. The more excuses you cut away, the clearer your life becomes. You start hearing your own voice again. You start believing in your power again. And you realize you were never stuck. You were just too soft, to be honest. Until now. Chapter 9. Make hard decisions without hesitation. Hard decisions are where real growth begins. They're not about logic alone. They're about courage. When you make the tough call without flinching, you signal to yourself and the world, I'm no longer running from responsibility. I'm leading with power. Hesitation is a form of fear dressed as caution. It convinces you to wait, delay, second guess. But while you hesitate, life keeps moving. Opportunities pass. Growth stalls. Making hard decisions without hesitation requires clarity about what matters most, and commitment to move anyway. Every hard decision you avoid becomes a wall between you and the life you want. Whether it's ending something toxic, starting something difficult, or saying yes to something uncertain, the decision itself becomes the turning point. Choose decisively, and you take control. You can't grow with 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Real decisions cut off escape routes. They don't leave space for maybe. When you decide fully, without backtracking, you create space for progress to take root. The fear of making the wrong decision paralyzes many people. But indecision is still a decision. It's a choice to remain stuck. The truth is, most decisions can be adjusted, refined, or redirected. But you have to move first. You can't steer a parked car. Clarity comes through action. You won't always feel certain before a decision, but the moment you choose, the path gets clearer. Confidence doesn't come from thinking, it comes from doing. Decide, act, adapt. That's how you build momentum. When you avoid the hard choice, you invite a harder life. The more you run from decisions that require courage, the more you stay trapped in patterns that drain you. Progress demands risk. It demands you trust your gut and go forward. Leaders make decisions. Weakness hides behind delays and distractions. The version of you that's built for success doesn't ask for more time. They ask, what's the next right move? Then they make it, even if it's hard, especially if it's hard. Stop waiting for perfect certainty. Stop needing everyone to agree. Stop thinking a little more time will make it easier. Hard decisions never feel easy. That's why they matter. That's why they change things. Sometimes the right decision will upset people. That's okay. Your life is not a democracy. You're not here to keep everyone comfortable. You're here to grow. If you constantly delay decisions to keep peace, you'll destroy your own. Hard decisions reveal your values. Do you value growth or comfort? Long-term wins or short-term relief? When you choose with courage, Even through fear, you prove to yourself that your values are more than words. They're guiding principles. You won't always know what happens next, but if the decision aligns with your future, it's worth the leap. Fear will whisper doubt, but purpose will whisper back louder. Do it anyway. And that whisper is the one that builds character. Your brain will search for reasons to stay where it's safe. That's survival mode. But you weren't born just to survive. You were born to evolve. And every evolution requires a decision that scares the old you. Don't romanticize the idea of the hard choice. Make it. Move forward. Then build on it. The longer you glorify the decision-making process, the more power you give to fear. Bold action is what flips the switch from stuck to strong. Hard choices often come down to identity. Who are you becoming? If you want to be mentally tough, focused, and resilient, then your choices must match that identity. Let every decision reflect your future, not your fear. The people you admire didn't get there by avoiding pressure. They leaned into it. They made moves when others froze. They acted when others paused. That same courage exists in you. It's just waiting to be used. Cut off the backup plans. Stop cushioning your leaps. Comfort zones look like protection, but they're often prisons. When you decide without exit routes, you create the urgency that drives action. Let go of needing to feel ready. Ready is a myth. No one feels ready to have the hard conversation, take the big risk, or start the massive project. But people who grow do it anyway, and in doing it, they become ready. Decisiveness is a skill. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Start with small choices, and when the big ones arrive, you'll have the muscle to act. Build the habit now, so you don't hesitate when it really counts. In the end, your life is shaped by what you did when things were unclear, risky, or hard. Make those decisions count. Decide quickly. Decide fully. Then back your choice with relentless action. That's how winners move. When you hesitate in the face of hard decisions, you give fear more time to grow. The longer you delay, the louder doubt becomes. But when you act quickly and clearly, you shut down the voice of fear and amplify the voice of power within you. Hard decisions demand clarity, not comfort. The more you wait for certainty, the more time you waste. Confidence doesn't come before the decision. It comes after you move. Action sharpens clarity. Movement reveals the next step. Every time you choose the hard right over the easy wrong, you strengthen your character. These decisions build your future, even if they're uncomfortable in the moment. Progress is earned, not gifted. And it's earned through decisive effort. People who win don't always make perfect decisions, but they do make decisions. Indecision is its own kind of failure. While others wait, the disciplined act. And while others wonder, the committed take ground. There is power in finality. When you decide and don't look back, you free up mental energy. No more questioning, no more what-ifs. You commit. And with that commitment comes a level of clarity and energy that hesitation never offers. The truth is, deep down, you often already know what needs to be done. You're just afraid to do it. But fear is not a reason to delay. It's a reason to move faster. To prove to yourself that your future is more important than your fear. Hesitation has a cost. It steals momentum. It allows room for excuses. It creates confusion. And over time, it weakens self-trust. But when you become the kind of person who makes tough calls and lives with the outcome, you become unstoppable. Making hard decisions doesn't mean they'll be easy to live with, but the pain of growth is better than the pain of regret. Decide to move forward. Decide to lead. Decide to act, because waiting won't change anything. People respect clarity. They follow those who know what they stand for. If you want to lead yourself and others, learn to make firm decisions without apology. Weak leadership hesitates. Strong leadership acts with purpose. Every hard decision you avoid becomes a wall between you and your next level. The only way to climb higher is to face those moments head on. Stop trying to go around discomfort. Go through it. That's where growth lives. The habit of quick, firm decision-making is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Start with the small things: what time you wake up, what you eat, how you use your day. Then build up to the life-changing calls with courage. Second-guessing keeps you trapped in a loop. You make a choice, then you doubt it, then you restart. And suddenly you're months behind. The cure? Decide. Then move. Don't revisit what's already been chosen. Build forward. There will always be people who don't understand your decisions. That's okay. You're not building their future. You're building yours. Stop asking for permission to change. You already have it. You gave it to yourself the moment you said, "I want better." Make decisions based on who you want to become, not who you've been. The old you chose comfort. The new you chooses growth. And growth requires uncomfortable decisions that stretch your limits and test your discipline. Let go of needing everything to be guaranteed. You will make some wrong calls, but that's how you learn. That's how you develop wisdom. The only way to sharpen your instincts is to use them. You don't learn by standing still. Be the person who can be counted on to make the tough calls in your own life, in your habits, in your mindset. That kind of reliability builds legacy. You become someone others admire, not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. When your values are clear, your decisions become easier. Align with your purpose. If something doesn't fit your future, it doesn't deserve your time. It really is that simple. Complexity is often an excuse for delay. Don't let emotion hijack your decisions. Feelings pass, principles stay. Make choices based on who you are at your core, not how you feel in the moment. Emotion-based decisions create chaos. Principle-based decisions create peace. Confidence is built when you back your own calls, even if you fall, even if you fail. Because in making the decision, you took ownership, and ownership always leads to growth, no matter the outcome. The more you make bold decisions, the more you discover who you really are. You stop shrinking, you stop asking, you start leading. You begin to trust that no matter how hard the choice is, you're the kind of person who gets it done. Chapter 10. Build resilience through repetition. Resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. And the way you build it is by doing hard things again and again until they stop feeling impossible. Repetition turns struggle into strength. It turns effort into identity. When you face challenges the first time, they feel overwhelming. But the second time, you're a little stronger. The third time, your mind stops panicking. And the 10th time, you don't flinch. That's not luck. That's resilience built through repetition. The key to becoming unshakable is showing up even when it doesn't feel like it's working. You don't get tougher by waiting for the right moment. You get tougher by creating consistency in difficult conditions. That consistency becomes your foundation. Every time you do something you didn't want to do, but needed to, you earn a mental edge. Maybe it's a workout, a reading session, or a disciplined decision. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. Small acts, repeated daily, build unstoppable momentum. You don't rise through motivation, you rise through patterns. And patterns are formed through repetition. The more you act in alignment with your goals, the more those actions become second nature. At that point, discipline becomes identity. Your brain adapts to what you repeatedly expose it to. If you constantly avoid discomfort, your mind learns to fear pressure. But if you face difficulty every day, even in small doses, your mind starts to see challenges as normal, not threatening. Repetition builds trust, not in others, but in yourself. When you consistently do what you said you'd do, you begin to believe in your own word. That belief becomes confidence, and confidence becomes fuel. Progress is slow at first. You'll feel like you're failing, even when you're growing. But repetition doesn't give quick rewards. It gives lasting transformation. Stick with it long enough, and you'll wake up one day stronger than you've ever been. Resilience isn't loud. It doesn't shout. It's the quiet decision to try again, to show up again, to push again, when everything in you wants to quit. That strength is built, not found, and it's built through daily effort. When life feels heavy, repetition gives you stability. It becomes your anchor, your structure, your fallback plan when everything else is chaos. A morning routine, a training habit, a journaling practice. These repetitions keep you grounded. Don't underestimate the power of showing up one more time. You may feel tired, discouraged, or alone. But each time you act anyway, you build mental armor. That's how you stop breaking. That's how you bounce back faster. You don't need massive wins to build resilience. You need repeated effort, day after day, failure after failure, victory after victory. What matters is that you keep moving forward. That repetition will carry you farther than talent ever could. Resilient people don't avoid pressure. They seek it. Not because it's fun, but because they know that pressure shapes strength. They build routines that stretch them and systems that force them to grow. That repetition becomes their edge. Most people quit when they don't see instant results. But repetition isn't about what happens in 1 week. It's about who you become in 1 year. Keep going long after others stop, and you'll find yourself in a league of your own. Your resilience is tested when no one is watching. When the applause is gone, when the energy is low, when the outcome is uncertain, those are the moments that build your legacy. And those moments are won through repeated effort, not random bursts. You can't control every outcome, but you can control your input. You can control your effort. You can control your repetition. Over time, that control gives you peace. You stop fearing failure because you know you'll keep going either way. Repetition sharpens focus. It removes the need for decision. When your actions are automatic, you save energy for growth. You stop debating whether to do the work. You just do it. That routine becomes a weapon against laziness. Resilience doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means you feel it and keep moving anyway. You've trained for discomfort. You've practiced pushing through. So when life gets tough, you're already prepared. You've rehearsed this moment through repetition. The people who succeed aren't always the most talented. They're the ones who repeat the most, who fail, learn, and repeat, who get knocked down, adjust, and repeat. They understand that mastery is just resilience stretched over time. So don't quit because it's hard. Don't stop because it's slow. Keep repeating. Keep showing up. Keep proving to yourself that strength isn't found in one perfect moment. It's found in the discipline to repeat what matters until it transforms you. True resilience isn't built in big, flashy moments. It's built in the quiet repetition of showing up when it's hard. It's built every time you push through when you don't feel like it. Every repetition is a reminder. I'm stronger than my excuses. Repetition turns struggle into strength. What once felt impossible becomes routine. What once made you hesitate now sharpens your focus. That transformation doesn't happen in a day. It happens through consistent effort, stacked one layer at a time. The first time you try, it feels awkward. The second time, you still doubt yourself. But by the 10th, the 20th, the 50th, you've built a rhythm. You've built confidence. That's the gift of repetition. It trains your brain to trust your own effort. There's no shortcut to grit. There's no secret trick to mental toughness. What makes you unstoppable is your willingness to keep going when others stop. Repetition builds endurance, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Each rep, each habit, each small win creates a stronger version of you. Repetition is not about perfection, it's about identity. Every time you repeat a disciplined action, you cast a vote for the person you are becoming. Resilience is born in routine, not in rare moments of motivation, but in daily decisions. Wake up early, finish the workout, stick to the plan, do it again tomorrow. This is how champions are made, one rep at a time. Don't confuse boredom with weakness. Doing the same thing again and again is what mastery looks like. Those who quit because it feels repetitive never reach their potential. Success is hidden in the consistency you overlook. You build unshakable resilience by doing hard things daily, not once, not sometimes, but until it becomes who you are. And when life hits you, as it always does, your habits carry you through, not your emotions. Every time you repeat a difficult task, your threshold for discomfort increases. What once drained you becomes normal. That's resilience. It's not avoiding pain, but learning to carry it with strength and purpose. Repetition also builds clarity. It strips away the noise. You stop overthinking and start trusting the process. Repetition reminds you that growth isn't always exciting, but it's always worth it. You'll fail along the way. You'll miss reps, slip up, lose focus. That's part of it. What matters is that you start again. Repetition isn't about being flawless. It's about being relentless. If you want to trust yourself, prove to yourself that you won't quit. And the only way to do that is through repetition. Let your consistency be louder than your doubts. People often quit not because they lack talent, but because they lack patience. They expect instant results from minimal effort. But repetition demands patience, and patience builds resilience that lasts. Repeat the small wins, repeat the hard choices, repeat the boring routines. Because it's not the complexity of your plan that matters. It's your commitment to showing up for it every day. When you repeat actions tied to purpose, they no longer feel like a chore. They become sacred. Waking up early isn't about discipline anymore. It's about alignment. It's who you are. You'll find peace in the process once you accept that repetition is the price of excellence. Stop searching for the next hack. Build resilience the real way, with effort, with pain, and with repetition. Your mind adapts to what you do often. If you repeat laziness, you teach yourself to quit. If you repeat discipline, you train your mind to fight. You're either reinforcing weakness or reinforcing strength. Repetition protects you during chaos. When your emotions scream, your habits keep you grounded. You don't have to think, you just do, because you've already trained your mind to act without permission. Let go of the need to feel ready. Readiness is a myth. What matters is momentum. And the only way to build momentum is to repeat. Repetition builds rhythm, and rhythm keeps you moving forward. Repetition is the difference between people who wish and people who win. Anyone can be motivated for a moment, but those who keep repeating the right actions, even when no one claps, those are the ones who become truly resilient. Chapter 11. Choose growth, not ease. Growth rarely feels good in the moment, but it always rewards you later. Choosing ease feels good now, but costs you in the long run. Every time you reach for what's comfortable, you delay who you're becoming. Real transformation lives on the other side of effort. Your brain is wired to protect you from discomfort, but growth demands it. That's why most people settle. They confuse ease with peace, but they're not the same. Ease avoids challenge. Peace is the result of facing it and rising above it. Comfort zones shrink your potential. They keep you small, predictable, and stuck in patterns. Growth zones expand your world, but they require risk, discomfort, and action. Every step into growth makes your old limits look small. Every time you do what's hard instead of what's easy, you tell your mind that you're in control. Not your moods, not your fears, not your past. Just you, focused, committed, and building something stronger with every hard choice. Ease whispers lies like, "You can do it later," or "You've done enough." Growth demands that you silence those whispers and choose the work anyway. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters, especially when it's not easy. There's nothing wrong with rest, but rest is not the same as avoidance. Many people call avoidance self-care, when really they're hiding from the growth they need. Growth means facing the truth, not escaping from it. The best version of you is not hiding in your comfort. It's forged in the fire of challenge. The struggle makes you stronger. The effort makes you sharper. The discomfort teaches you discipline. Growth never comes without a price. Ease is temporary. Growth is permanent. The comfort of quitting lasts a moment, but the regret can last a lifetime. The pain of effort is real, but so is the power it gives you when you push through it. If you only do what's easy, your life will be hard. But if you consistently choose growth, your life gets easier. Not because the world changes, but because you've become stronger. Your problems didn't shrink, you grew. Growth requires that you outgrow your old self daily. That means doing things the past version of you avoided. That means having the hard conversation, waking up earlier, pushing past excuses, and showing up even when it's inconvenient. Your future is shaped by the hard decisions you make today, not just once, but repeatedly. Growth is not a moment, it's a habit, a repeated pattern of choosing better when it would be easier to stay the same. Avoiding growth now only guarantees struggle later. Whether it's your health, your mindset, your money, or your discipline, the areas you avoid growing will eventually demand your attention. Choose to face them now while it's hard, not later when it's worse. Ease may feel safe, but it keeps you living small. You weren't made to stay the same year after year. Your heart knows it. That itch you feel, that inner frustration. It's a sign that you're ready for more, even if it scares you. Most people don't fail because of lack of talent. They fail because they kept choosing ease over effort. Don't be one of them. Be the kind of person who leans into challenge, not because it's easy, but because it's the only path to who you're meant to be. Growth changes your standards. The more you choose it, the less tolerance you have for laziness, excuses, and passivity. You start craving progress. You start respecting effort. And you begin to move with purpose instead of pressure. Every hard thing you choose to do becomes a building block in your character. You can't see the structure right away, but it's forming. Every rep, every challenge, every uncomfortable win is shaping the version of you you've been asking for. The world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you're willing to work for. Growth is the currency of elevation. If you want more freedom, more confidence, more clarity, you have to exchange it for effort. Choosing growth doesn't mean you won't feel fear. It means you move anyway. You act through the fear. You think beyond the hesitation. Growth demands that you trust the process even when the results are still invisible. The greatest rewards are waiting behind the work most people avoid. Growth requires walking into the fire when everyone else walks away. It requires leading yourself when no one is watching. And most of all, it requires believing you're capable, even when it's hard. Don't ask, what's easier? Ask, what will grow me? That one question changes your entire direction. It shifts your focus from escaping discomfort to embracing challenge. And once you start living like that, you'll never settle for ease again. Growth and ease rarely walk the same path. Choosing growth means you say no to what's comfortable and yes to what's challenging. It means you accept struggle, not as a setback, but as proof that you're stepping into a higher version of yourself. When you chase ease, you avoid discomfort. But discomfort is where the lessons are. It's where your strength grows. Every time you pick the harder road, you become mentally sharper and emotionally stronger. Ease keeps you stagnant. Growth keeps you moving. People often say they want to grow, but their actions say they want comfort. Growth demands action, commitment, and resilience. It doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It rewards those who move despite fear and doubt. Every time you choose ease, you're reinforcing your current limits. Every time you choose growth, you push those limits further. Growth doesn't feel safe. It feels uncomfortable. That's how you know you're on the right path. Your comfort zone is a cage dressed as a sanctuary. It feels safe, but it traps your potential. The moment you realize this, you start to choose differently. You stop looking for soft landings and start building strong wings. You don't become great by staying in places that are easy. You become great by stretching, reaching, and doing what others avoid. The pain of growth is temporary. The regret of comfort can last a lifetime. Choosing growth is an act of self-respect. It means you believe in who you can become more than who you've been. It means you're willing to do the work, feel the burn, and keep showing up because you know you're capable of more. There's a false promise in ease. It tells you you're fine just as you are. But growth asks, what if you could be more? And if you listen closely, you'll hear the truth. You were never meant to stay the same. You were meant to evolve. Growth forces you to confront your limits and then shatter them. It forces you to abandon the comfort of routine for the challenge of progress. It's never smooth, but it's always worth it. The more you choose growth, the stronger your identity becomes. You begin to see yourself as someone who rises, someone who adapts, someone who doesn't settle. This mental shift fuels momentum that comfort could never give you. Most people avoid growth because it's lonely, because it's quiet, because it doesn't offer instant reward. But the results of growth last longer than any applause. They reshape who you are from the inside out. Choosing growth often means being misunderstood. While others chase shortcuts, you stay committed. While they rest in what's easy, you endure what's necessary. The difference isn't in the talent, it's in the mindset. Ease invites you to wait. Growth demands that you act. One will keep you hoping, the other will keep you building. The choice is yours. Every day, in every decision, in every moment you feel tempted to back off. There will always be an easier option. But what do you want more? Ease or excellence? Growth means you sacrifice momentary comfort for long-term gain. That sacrifice is where discipline begins. You weren't born to play it safe. You were born to create, to struggle, to rise. Growth doesn't promise you comfort, but it does promise transformation. And with it, a life that reflects your full potential. If you want to feel proud, choose growth. If you want to feel fulfilled, choose growth. The results don't come overnight, but they do come to those who keep choosing the harder road, day after day. You don't get stronger by avoiding hard things. You get stronger by facing them, overcoming them, learning from them. Every difficult step is progress. Every challenge you meet builds muscle, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Choosing growth rewires your mind. It teaches you to expect discomfort instead of avoid it. It turns failure into feedback and effort into identity. You stop seeing struggle as a problem and start seeing it as part of your purpose. The comfort you cling to is costing you the life you're capable of living. But the growth you keep avoiding is the key to unlocking it. You already know what comfort feels like. It's time to find out what greatness feels like. And in the end, growth gives you something ease never can. Pride. Not the kind that's loud or boastful, but the quiet, steady kind. The kind that comes from knowing you didn't take the easy route. You took the right one. Chapter 12. Transform softness into strength. Strength isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. If you feel soft, it's not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your transformation. You become strong when you stop running from discomfort and start rising through it. Softness often shows up as hesitation, laziness, or fear. It convinces you to wait, overthink, and hold back. But strength is the opposite. Strength moves even when it's scared. It shows up even when it's tired. It pushes through because it knows what's at stake. You don't need to be aggressive to be strong. You need to be consistent. Strength is showing up when you don't feel like it. It's sticking to your standards even when your emotions say otherwise. That quiet consistency builds unshakable inner power. Stop using weakness as your identity. Just because you've been undisciplined doesn't mean you are undisciplined. Just because you've avoided hard things doesn't mean you can't do them now. Growth begins when you change the story you tell yourself. Softness seeks comfort. Strength seeks challenge. You transform when you stop choosing what's easy and start choosing what grows you. It's not about pain. It's about pressure that shapes you into someone tougher, wiser, and more capable. You don't build strength by talking. You build it by doing. Action changes you. Every workout, every early morning, every uncomfortable choice. Each one is a brick in the foundation of the stronger version of you. The old you avoided problems. The new you faces them. Strength doesn't wait for the right mood. It moves through resistance. It accepts the fear and still steps forward. That's what makes it powerful. There's strength in self-control. Saying no to what pulls you off track. Saying yes to what aligns with your goals, even when it's boring or inconvenient. Every time you choose structure over impulse, you build a layer of resilience. Softness says, I can't. Strength says, I will try. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to stop letting fear decide for you. You win by facing small fears every day until courage becomes your new normal. Look at your habits. They tell the truth. Are you building strength or maintaining weakness? Change your routine and your identity follows. One disciplined day can spark a lifetime of momentum if you repeat it. The strongest people aren't always loud. They're the ones who show up without needing applause. They don't announce their grind. They live it. That quiet strength speaks louder than any excuse ever could. Your softness has a root. Maybe it came from avoiding pain, from rejection, or from fear of failure. But now you see it. And what you see, you can change. Strength begins with awareness and grows through action. Hard things reveal your power. When you choose them instead of run from them, you change. You find out what you're made of. You realize you're capable of more than you imagined. Strength is a discovery. It's waiting inside you. Don't let your past softness define your future. You've been inconsistent? Change it. You've doubted yourself? Prove yourself wrong. The moment you act against your softness, you begin to harden in the best way. Train your mind like a muscle. Stretch it. Challenge it. Feed it what makes it stronger. Discipline, clarity, and truth. Let go of comfort talk. Start speaking in action terms. That's how mental strength grows. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You just need to be persistent. Strength doesn't come from flawless performance. It comes from relentless effort, from bouncing back, from choosing better again and again. Surround yourself with strength. People, habits, content, energy. Choose environments that push you forward, not ones that coddle your comfort. Your surroundings either shape your toughness or weaken your resolve. Strength respects itself. It doesn't settle. It doesn't beg. It doesn't apologize for being focused. When you live with strength, you live with direction. You know what you want, and you're willing to earn it. Let your softness become your reason, not your excuse. Use your past weakness as fuel. Let it remind you of what you never want to go back to. Let it push you toward discipline, not shame. You have a choice today, to stay soft or to become solid, to keep blaming or to start building, to remain comfortable or to rise with discomfort. The decision is yours, and so is the life that comes with it. You don't have to stay soft just because you started soft. Growth isn't about how you began. It's about what you choose today. You can decide right now to be harder to break, tougher to distract, and impossible to quit. Softness grows in comfort, but strength is built in resistance. Each time you do what's uncomfortable but necessary, you shift. You become a little less dependent on ease and a little more capable of enduring what life throws at you. You are not made to be weak. That voice in your head that tells you you're not strong enough isn't your truth. It's your past. And the moment you challenge it with consistent action, it loses power. The new you starts where the excuses stop. Mental strength isn't something you're born with. It's something you train. Just like muscles, the mind grows stronger through resistance. Every time you face fear, delay gratification, or choose discipline, you're building unshakable strength. Softness avoids conflict. Strength faces it. When you start standing up for your goals, your time, and your standards, you stop running from problems and start walking through them with purpose and clarity. You don't grow stronger by hoping things get easier. You grow stronger by becoming the kind of person who doesn't need things to be easy. When you shift that mindset, you stop being fragile and start becoming fierce. There is power in choosing pain now to avoid regret later. When you embrace short-term discomfort for long-term growth, you rise above the old you, the one that was scared of hard things and lived inside the word someday. Transforming softness isn't about becoming harsh. It's about becoming honest. Honest with your habits. Honest with your excuses. Honest with your potential. From that honesty, real change is possible. Nobody owes you toughness. You have to earn it. Not through motivation, but through repetition, through showing up when you're tired, through finishing when you want to quit, through keeping your word when no one would have blamed you for breaking it. Soft people chase comfort. Strong people chase standards. Your strength is reflected in how well you follow through, not on your best day, but on your worst. That's what defines toughness, persistence in pressure. You build strength in silence, when no one notices, when no one congratulates you, when it's just you and the decision to rise again. That solitude sharpens you. That silence molds you. That repetition builds you. Your softness may have been a survival tool, but survival and success are not the same. What once protected you is now limiting you. Strength is what unlocks the next level, and it starts by letting go of the version of you that stayed small to feel safe. Strength is built by doing what needs to be done, not what you feel like doing. Every time you override a feeling with a higher standard, you put a brick in the foundation of your next level. Stop calling it overwhelmed when it's really under-disciplined. Many people aren't drowning. They're disorganized, distracted, and reactive. Build structure. Build control. That's how softness turns into solid ground. Strength means you can face failure without losing momentum. Weakness collapses after one setback. Strength learns, adjusts, and tries again. The more you reframe losses as feedback, the faster you grow. If you want to become strong, raise your expectations for yourself. Not in a way that crushes you, but in a way that stretches you. You're capable of more, and deep down, you know it. That discomfort you feel is your greatness calling. You don't have to shout about your transformation. Just live it. Let the new you walk in silence, and let your results make the noise. The strongest people don't announce. They act. Hard choices are how softness fades. Choose the discipline. Choose the hard conversation. Choose the 5 a.m. wake-up. Choose the workout. Choose the silence. Every one of those moments turns you into something more. Your softness isn't permanent. It's simply unused power. Power waiting to be claimed. Strength waiting to be chosen. And the moment you stop avoiding what's hard and start chasing what's right, that power begins to surface. And when it does, when you feel that internal shift, you'll realize something powerful. You were never stuck. You were never incapable. You were never weak. You were just waiting to choose strength. And now you have. Softness isn't your flaw, it's your starting point. It only becomes a weakness when you protect it instead of challenging it. The moment you choose to rise above it, it becomes your fuel, not your limit. Strength begins where your excuses end. The second you stop defending your comfort and start demanding more from yourself, your inner power starts to take form. You don't need more time. You need more truth. Your potential doesn't need protecting, it needs pressure. Stop trying to shield yourself from difficulty. Start facing it head-on, knowing that the discomfort is where growth lives and softness dies. Strength isn't loud. It's not a show. It's quiet. It's the voice inside that says, get up when you want to quit. Keep going when it hurts. That quiet voice gets stronger every time you listen to it instead of your fear. No one becomes strong by accident. They make hard choices, keep hard promises, and do hard things. You're not stuck. You're soft. And softness hardens when it's exposed to consistent discipline. You gain toughness by doing what others avoid. When everyone else stops, you keep going. When they complain, you work. That's the edge. That's the line that separates average from exceptional, and softness from steel. Start proving to yourself that you can endure. Push past your limits on purpose. Go one more rep, one more day, one more promise kept. The more you push, the more your softness burns away, and strength remains. Your strength is waiting behind your patterns. Patterns of giving up, patterns of talking instead of doing, patterns of fear disguised as planning. Break them, replace them, make new patterns that reinforce power. You don't need to be fearless, you need to be disciplined. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to move through it. Discipline is the weapon that carries you forward even when motivation disappears. Softness looks like, I'll do it later. Strength says, do it now. Softness says, I'm not ready. Strength says, start anyway. Train your mind to stop giving softness a voice in your decisions. Your old identity won't bring you into your future. To evolve, you must outgrow the version of you that gave up easily, that looked for comfort instead of challenge. Leave them behind. Create a new version that demands greatness. Resilience is trained, not gifted. You build it every time you refuse to back down, every time you push through even when it's hard. Resilience is repetition, it's consistency. It's the result of rising instead of retreating. Every struggle has value if you let it strengthen you. Don't resent the pain. Use it. Let it shape your will. Let it sculpt your character. Let it harden your resolve so that quitting is no longer an option. Your environment matters. Surround yourself with voices that challenge you, not coddle you, that hold you accountable, not enable you. You cannot build strength while living in softness. Choose pressure over comfort. Your softness fades with every decision that costs you effort. You gain grit when you stop choosing the path of least resistance. The more difficult the road, the stronger you become. Let the hard way forge the harder you. Strength is built in silence. While others are distracted, scrolling, resting, you're training, you're studying, you're pushing. That's where the toughness grows. Not in applause, but in isolation. Start becoming unrecognizable to your old self, the one that made excuses, the one that gave up. You don't owe your past identity anything. You owe your future everything. And that future requires strength, not softness. Never forget, you are one decision away from transformation, one disciplined act, one morning you don't hit snooze, one time you finish instead of quit. Those moments change you. They break the softness. They build the warrior. This isn't about perfection, it's about pursuit. Every time you chase strength instead of shelter, you redefine who you are. You become someone capable, someone reliable, someone who commands respect, starting with self-respect. Your softness does not define you. Your ability to overcome it does. So rise, grind, focus, fail forward, get back up, keep going. Because every step through the fire forges the version of you who no longer runs from pressure, but thrives in it. You're not stuck. You've just been avoiding the hard work. You've been waiting for the right moment, the right mood, the perfect plan. But here's the truth. Growth doesn't wait. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. And success doesn't show up for the soft. It shows up for the consistent, the focused, the relentless. So stop telling yourself stories that keep you small. Take the hit, build the strength, and move forward. The path is yours, if you're strong enough to walk it. Now get up, lock in, and prove to yourself that you're not soft anymore. You're built for this.